All right, let's talk off-grid tiny homes. My goal in this video is to give you all the information needed for an off-grid tiny home setup in a very quick amount of time. So first things first, what do we mean when we say off-grid? Someone might have solar power set up for powering the home, but then they might have water tapped into existing services, or they might have it the other way around. In this video, we're talking about completely off-grid. So we're assuming there are no services on the site, or at least in the position that you want to locate the tiny home. So therefore, we are relying solely on Mother Nature to give us our water source and our power. Okay, first of all, powering the home. There's obviously all sorts of providers out there on the market, and we are just highlighting a few of them. Links to these products and services will be in the description below. The Arc Tiny Home is already provisioned for both solar power and existing power on the property, so you don't need to worry about that from the outset. So we recommend a portable solar power setup, and that's for two reasons. One, it gives you more flexibility when it's on a trailer. So you're able to wheel that anywhere that you like on the property. And obviously the sun is changing all through the year. So it really helps to have that flexibility to literally move those solar panels with the seasons. The other reason is that our roof is just really pretty and we don't want to put ugly solar panels on top. So this solar setup literally just plugs into the tiny home itself, just like you would any other standard electrical appliance. For around about the cost of 15 to 20 grand, you're going to get something that should be able to power a tiny home for two people. That comes with the solar panels themselves, the battery pack, and the generator as well. So that's going to power a split system air conditioner, all your lighting, all your power points for your laptops and your electrical devices. So most standard solar setups for a tiny home only really need 2.5, 3-ish hours of full sunlight to fully charge. If you're in a prolonged period without sunlight, then obviously the battery pack is going to come in handy. And then once that battery pack gets down to a certain amount, then that generator is going to kick in. What you really want to do when you're going off grid is harness the power of gas. So that's why we set up a gas hot water system, and we also set up a gas cooktop as well. So now we're going to talk about water and septic. So many people choose to go with a composting toilet. We recently installed a green loo composting toilet. That added a couple of thousand Australian dollars to their build in exchange with obviously traditional flush toilet. You would dig a small pit for the composting retention pit, and then you would also dig a small pit for the GREYWATER system as well. As far as how often you need to empty the composting pit, it really just depends on how often the home is used. So the customer that we recently worked with was just using it for short-term accommodation. Their setup really should last them around about 2 months before they have to change it over. The GREYWATER system that we installed for that build cost us about 1,200 Aussie dollars. Obviously, if you're getting water from the source, then you want some kind of a rainwater collection. We can provide a guttering kit, and that includes small gutters either side and also down pipes that are going to go into your rainwater tank. We recommend starting with at least a 5,000 litre rainwater tank. That should cost you around about $1,500. Simply have that delivered to your site, ready for the plumber to tap it in. The standard residential home in Australia would go through about 5,000 litres of water in about 3 weeks. So for our homes that are usually only catering for a maximum of 2 people, generally part-time, that could last a lot longer than that 3 weeks. It could last 2 months, just depending on how long it's being used. If you are going through water and you're having issues because maybe we're having a prolonged period of drought, as we tend to do sometimes in Australia, you can get a water truck to dump a whole pile of water out to your property. So depending where you are, it might cost in the range of $300, $400, $500, could be up to $1,000, just depending on how remote you are. You also might want to get a rainwater filter just to ensure that your drinking water is clean. This sort of a filter should kill 99% of harmful bacteria, and they're about $2,000. Hope that helps. All of the products and links that I've spoken about, I'm going to put in the description below in this video. So choose whichever products you wish, but this should give you a head start.